let's go ahead and start building out the inner liner here. So I'm going to hit A, or my A is for display all. I'm going to go up to display, show all, because we had this guy hidden. Great. So what do we have here? We have this inner volume that we want to actually just make this entire area as one inner volume that we can isolate and work on independently. And so we're going to keep this guy here as a reference, the red, which is our interstitial layer. So I'm just going to shut that off right now because we don't need it. Because what we have here is we have the version of this that's already been booleaned and it's already been cleaned up and lines up perfectly, and we want to basically build off of what we already have here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this entire piece and we're going to use the duplicate face command. And I'm going to delete the history before I do this. And so I'm going to select this and go down to under edit mesh, duplicate face. And I'm going to center the pivot first, duplicate face. And so now we see that we have our manipulator and it's asking us to start duplicating it in a direction which we'd like. And so we can, as we start moving it, we can see on the local translate see a specific value. So if you're working with specific units and you want to do it by a certain distance, you can input that distance here. If I wanted to make it minus 0.3, then we could do that. But for now, I'm just freestyling this and trying to get just a kind of general range that we'd like. And so looking at it in wireframe, that looks okay. There's a little bit of a threshold difference, but I think that's fine. This one's probably fine here. Okay. So now that we have this guy, you see that there's a couple of things that we need to clean up here, especially with how the geometry is moving. Because right now it's going in on itself. So we just got to make sure that we go back in to clean this up quite a bit. So that's fine here. And so if we look at our outliner, it's now created both of these inside the same group. So I'm just going to label this main mass, not mess, main mass. And I'm going to delete the history on that. And so we have the outer and the inner here. And I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Okay, so if I isolate this guy, and I'm going to go up to Window, Rendering, Editors, and then Hypershade, and I'm going to assign a different material to this, just so we can see it clearly. I'm going to actually grab the red that I had for the other ones. I'm just going to middle mouse drag and drop it on top of it. So right from the get-go, when we hit 3, we see it's kind of choppy, so we can do the page up or function up for Mac. But still, there's a couple of moments here where the top layer is going through the bottom layer, and we for sure do not want that. So I'm going to grab a few of these points and start just shifting these down. But it really doesn't matter right now because we're going to get rid of a lot of this layer anyway. And you'll see as we start to do this why that's going to make a difference. So for now, we can just grab a few of these guys and just push them down a bit, just so we have more clearance here, and we can see a little bit better where we're working. But when you hit 3, you see it goes away. It's just that the distance is actually very, very, very tight. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab, we know that there's certain parts of the geometry that we want to stay where it is, and other parts we're okay with just moving it around a bit. So let's identify what those parts are. And let me just finish grabbing some of these points here. And I'm just grabbing all the ones that are on the bottom side that are poking up from the top. And we can see another one here. and that little guy. Okay, so this guy here, that's okay, that's just a threshold from the clipping plane. You can shove that down a bit if you'd like. Yeah, I mean, that's fine for now. So which parts of this do we want to keep? If we show what we hid and we select both of these and we hit 3, well, we can see, of course, right now the top layer we need to do the page up or function up for Mac. Or you can go to the attribute editor. Sorry, I kept hitting function. Yeah, if you go to the attribute editor under smooth mesh, there's a smooth mesh preview, and then it's a display cage plus smooth mesh. And so here you can see below the subdivision levels, if we wanted to keep the preview level at 3, which is what we did when we hit page up or function up. If you notice, if I hit function down, then that level changes to 2. So for now, we can just keep it at 3. It's not, just to get better visualization. And so now that we're here, there's parts of this that we're going to need to move out from the inner layer, sorry. Because it's coming through on this side, and because everything was very tight before. So even before we start doing that, though, let's start identifying what are the areas which we're going to want to keep. And I'm going to use the top layer, the top mesh here that we have, the outer. And I'm going to put it in the top mesh LP. And I'm going to just reference it so that we can actually keep it in its position, but also work with the ones that's around it. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to hit 3 on it so that we have it referenced in our 3 mode. So I'm going to grab a couple of these faces here, and let's talk for a second about what we want to do. If I go to my X-ray, we want to maintain this inner layer with the tube and basically grab this whole inner bottom area here and some of these here and start removing some of this material that's on the outside here. And so what we're going to do then is just start working with some of the faces here and start deleting some of the areas which we don't want. And then we're going to go back in and clean it up. So right now, we don't really need or want those. And I'm not really that concerned with this outermost edge. So, because we're going to go in and build from it anyway. So if we go ahead and just delete this guy, I'm going to get off of X-ray mode. And then I'm going to actually template this so we can see under it. Yeah. And grabbing these as well. And I'm Control-Shift dragging to add to the selection. And then I'm holding Control to deselect. And I'll hit 3 and just delete, see what that looks like. If you wanted to keep that a bit further back, here you can add an edge loop. So we could insert edge loop tool here. And it's going to shoot it straight down this way. But if we want, we can reroute it so that it comes across. Or we can just keep it where it is and just delete those faces there. And so over on this end, I'm going to grab a couple of the ones that are down here and all these up front from both layers. Grab that one as well. Oops, sorry, not those. All of the ones around it. And then we'll delete those. And we'll build out from these across instead of working with the ones we have here. I mean, I guess we could keep this one if we really wanted to, just for purposes of building it out. And then I'm going to go in and grab this guy and delete that one as well, and this one. And as we look under here, we're going to nix that one. And you can hit 3 to start getting a sense of what it's actually doing. And so the idea is going to be that we maintain the inner volumes where these legs are coming down and the primary volumes that are embedded, and then the connection between the two. So of course we wouldn't want this. And then on this end, we're going to get rid of these sides here, these edges and faces. And we can keep and build from these if we'd like. And then the same thing if we want to keep. If you want to maintain this completely, you can. I'm just deleting pretty much everything that I don't want. And maybe these. Let's see. Yeah, we could delete those if we wanted. And then we can build out from here if we want to make these two work a bit differently. Sure. Okay. So now we have a kind of chopped up, messy looking remaining space. And that's fine, because now we're going to go ahead and just build straight from that. So here we want to encompass that area, here we want to grab that area, and then here we want this to go the whole way around. So let's just start stitching these together. And I'm going to shut off the top mesh. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to go to my vertex mode, and I'm going to grab that one, and I'm going to hold V for the vertex snap, and I'm just going to snap it over. Because remember, right now there's a gap between these two. So we can worry about combining these later, adding geometry between them, or we can just merge it actually if we really want to. It's not going to make that big of a difference. It'll be nice to have a little bit of an edge there, I suppose. And so in this instance here, we know we have these two that we need to stay in the position that they're at. And so what we could do is we can grab this, this edge here, and we can either shift its position this way, and then when we go back, if we need to, we're going to need to make a couple of changes on the inside here, and we can do that after. Or we can just shift it over on top of this one. So you can see where it is now. It would want to go out. That innermost edge that you can see there. So I'm just going to grab that vertex and push it out a bit. And I'm going to grab this one and push that out a bit as well. And so what we can do now is we can actually just go ahead and either make geometry here, or we can just start stitching this thing the other way around completely. So let's just go ahead and grab this guy, and I'm just going to put it on top. And then I'm going to grab that one, I'm going to snap it on top of this, and I'm going to hold V still and just snap it up so that it's in the same plane. And then I'm going to do my Append to Polygon tool and append those two together. Then we're going to go this way and grab this set here. Make sure you don't grab anything else. And I'm just shifting that back a bit. Great. Then moving along this way, I'm going to grab this one, snap it over there, hold it down, pull it down a bit. And so here, we can grab this edge and just extrude this edge out. And we can hit the power to go into our world mode. And you can just start moving it out a bit, and then go into your vertex mode and snap those two together, select them, and then you can do merge to center here. At the end, we're going to do an overall merge, so it's totally fine. And then we can snap this one all the way out, and if we want, we can lower it depending on what our level is here. And so another thing we can do now is we can double click this entire edge actually, and we can just extrude this up, and I'm hitting W and I'm just pulling it up a tiny bit, just a little bit like that. And I'm going to go back over here and just check how everything is. Okay, because we're going to use that to then build these polygons around this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these two, and I'm going to merge them. I'm going to grab those two, and hit G to merge them again. And so here we see that we have this guy that has, we're going to have to either make a triangle here or insert an edge loop, which we can do here along this edge, and then just snap that point over. And then merging it. We're going to have to go in this way as well and grab that, merge it up. So from this point then I can, since these are merged now and there's no open border on this side, I can append a polygon and just start appending across like so. And so here we want to move this point back, and I'm just going to keep it there and then append a polygon tool again. Grab that one. Here to here, here to here. And then so once we get to here, we have a couple of options here. We can pull this edge back, and if we turn on our top piece, we see we have plenty of room here. So we can keep this as it is and then just pull this lower part forward. And if I hold D and V, I move the snap up to the top one, then I hold V just to move them both across. And then once I'm here, instead of, we don't want to really merge this yet because we'll end up with some non-manifold geometry. So I'm going to actually just add a polygon here and add another one in this area here. So I'm going to do that by going to Mesh, create Polygon Tool, and I'm just going to hold the V for the vertex and counterclockwise make sure that the normals are in the right position. Then we can select both of these and go up to Mesh, Combine. And then we can do, instead of, I'm going to delete the history. Instead of doing a merge to center, if we go to the Edit Mesh and open up the Mesh box, the merge box, the threshold right now is 0.01. And that's small enough where basically it's just going to merge any two vertices that are on top of each other. But if you jack this number up, then say for example this distance is 5, if you make this 10, then any two vertices, because right now I have always merged for two vertices, that are within that threshold are going to be merged together. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit apply. So when I hit 3, you see that that's transitioning properly. And so here we can, I'm going to pull this guy up a tiny bit. So here we can start appending again. So I'm going to append from here to here. Oh, I clicked on the wrong area. And I'm going to turn on my top layer again to get a sense of where my piece is. And so I'm going to delete, I don't really want this the more that I look at it. No, so we can just delete that. And then what we'll do from here, since we just deleted this edge, we want to bring and introduce an edge from this point. So we would need to do that from here and here, and we can just do an extrude and just pull it straight up. And then once you get it here, then of course you can select both of these. You notice that in your heads up display, there's two of them, so you can merge those. And then let's look at where our other polygon is here. So we probably want to keep that one in the position that it's at. So here what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab this vertex and I'm just going to snap it over here. And then I'm going to create a polygon here. If I select both of these right now, I can just merge them. But you're going to want to right away remember that you kept an open edge there. So we have that guy. And then here we can double click. You see it selects that loop the entire way around. And what we're going to do is we're going to just move this over. And we're going to introduce some faces from this end. So if you click on one edge and you click the second, like whatever edge you want the second edge to be, it will select everything in between. Then we can go to extrude and hit R for scale based on the bounding box centroid of that area, and just pull these in a bit, and then go under and grab, because remember that this one's floating. So here we can either pull this one all the way over here and then start appending that way, or we can just bring him over on this end and create a triangle. So I'm just going to bring him over here. Select both of those, merge, and then go up to the Append to Polygon tool and just finish this area off here. And then of course, before we do that here, if we just append right now, we'll end up getting that part, but then we still have this floating, this edge here that doesn't have a home. So I'm going to first bring up this vertex here and just snap it up. Select both of them, then merge it. And then I'm going to just keep this here and then close this guy off. So we got a warning that we had non-manifold face, but now that we've added that, we're going to need to go back in here because there's an issue that's happening right here. And I can see when you do Append to Polygon tool, and when it becomes, the border becomes selected like that, it means that there's an issue here. And so we'll just go ahead and clean that up here. So you can see that it's highlighting this edge, and I know that there is no other edge that's being connected here. I can see that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just delete this face and this one, and it's in the order which we appended these that caused that. So if I go ahead and grab these now and I append them again, now you can see it's fine. It's because we appended an edge that was sharing a couple of different points, and then we try to append another edge based on that position, and it didn't really enjoy that very much. So I'm just going to continue appending from here to here, and we're almost around the corner here. So on this end, we have this part merged, but we see here that we still have these that we need to bring over. So I'm going to grab those and snap those down. Instead of merging them now, I'm going to merge them using the merge instead of the merge to center. So I'm just snapping those down, and I'm going to delete the history again, which edit delete by type history, and I'm just going to hit merge here. And so now we can see that that merged it successfully. And so now all we have to do is turn this on, and of course see that we're going to need to fix this in our area here, but generally speaking it's going in the right direction. So in this instance, I'm going to append using my Append to Polygon tool from here to here, and then from here to here. And so now we have a kind of a weird moment here that we don't necessarily want. So I'm going to grab that vertex and just move it out, but keeping in mind that moving it out means it's going to start poking out of that area. And I'm going to grab this set of vertices here, and I'm just going to snap them over this way. And so now that those are there, I'm going to hit merge again to merge within the threshold. And then here I'll append, actually I'm going to merge this one over here instead of appending. And so now that I have those, I'm going to go over to my merge. And so now when we hit 3, we see we still have a little bit of an issue here. And it is right here. Right, so that's open. So I'm going to append that. And so now when we hit 3, we can see. Then the gray is the areas that we added new geometry. So I'm going to go back up to my hypershade, and I'm going to grab my red blend, and I'm going to slap that on this guy. And I'm going to delete the history one more time. And so now we see we have a pretty nice inner volume here. It's not rough. I mean, it still needs to be cleaned up a little bit. Here we have a face that I could see when I hit 3 that was poking out. If we hit 4 or go to the X-ray, we can see it floating in there. We definitely do not want an edge sharing multiple faces like this. So we're going to highlight over all this and hold Control to deselect around it, and then we're just going to delete it. Now we can see that that has taken care of the problem. Great. So, it looks pretty nice. We need to come in and fix this area, but we can start to see the everything starting to come together, which is working pretty well. So in the next lesson, we'll clean this up and we'll start getting everything ready for the final output.